USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Tap the banner to learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
All right, guys, welcome back. What a Sunday. All right, I don't want to wait this any longer. I'm excited to be joined by the former Assistant Secretary of Homeland Security, Trisha McGlaughlin. Trisha, thanks for joining us.
Sean, thanks for having me on, and congratulations on your show.
Thank you. First of all, I got to just say, thank you for your service. I know, doing these jobs sometimes is thankless, and especially for what you guys did at Homeland Security. We are safer as a country. You helped fulfill a lot of President Trump's signature campaign issues, and I know you never probably got 5 minutes to yourself because the left-wing media was just constantly quarreling with the statistics, the tactics. And so I appreciate everything you did as a sacrifice, as an American to serve our country and President Trump.
Oh, well, thank you, Sean, and thanks for what you continue to do for our country. It's an honor, and it was certainly a sacrifice, but I do it all day, every day.
Okay, I'll take you on that. I want to get to some of the accomplishments because, again, this is something that for a lot of us who just, again, I don't look at it as a partisan issue, but I want to get to what you guys accomplished at the border in a second. Yeah. But obviously, a lot of issues have come up in the media now about the big ad buy that Secretary Noem made. Let's just break down for the facts. I want your side of just give people who are maybe even new to this situation. Walk us through what this whole hubbub is all about.
Yeah, and I think naturally people are going to say, well, why does DHS have a $200 million ad buy? And the reason is because 10 to 15 million illegal aliens entered our country in the last 4 years. And Sean, the cheapest and safest way to get them out is for them to self-deport. So really the purpose of this ad buy and what Secretary Noem did with it is tell these illegal aliens who are in the country and outside of the country so that they can tell their family members in the interior of the United States, get out now. You get $2,600. You get a free flight home. Preserve the potential opportunity to come back the right way, the legal way. And then if not, we'll arrest you. And actually, DHS had pretty enormous success with this. There's around 2.5 million people who self-deported. And then DHS, a couple weeks ago, past my time, they put out that ad campaign actually saved about $39 billion for the American taxpayer. So those are the facts right there.
Well, I mean, and it's funny when you talk about marketing, right? So a company wants someone to buy a product. They talk about customer acquisition costs. How much does it cost to get that person to learn about our product and buy it, right? And every good company, if you ever watch Shark Tank, there's what's your customer acquisition cost, right? So for you guys, there must be an analysis that says, hey, running these ads gets people out the door, which is a lot better than sending a whole ICE team to go track down an individual, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is a very conservative estimate. It costs about $18,000 to deport someone. So that's, first of all, apprehending them, arresting them, then having them in detention versus even with the $2,600 in free flight home, it was about a 70% savings. And so DHS saying that's about $39 billion. And you can't, especially, right, the ICE resources, the CBP resources there, the safety of those communities, the safety of the migrants themselves, those things are all, you can't even put a price tag on.
No, it was funny. I was trying to do on my phone here. This is, shoot, I mean, I can come up with at least $45 million. I mean, this is a real number of savings. And also, by the way, it's not just that, it's how many jobs are available, the impact that they were having on housing costs, potential crimes. I mean, there is a massive cost to this. So let's just keep going down this thread because I do want to get to some of the really great work that you guys did. But yeah. So the ad budget, so the Democrats right now, they pressed her on the Hill and said, you gave this, you didn't go through the process that was proper. The vendors weren't vetted. They went to some people that were in your orbit. Walk us through what you want us to know about how that process worked.
Yeah, and I think that this piece is very important, and because, I mean, think about it, Sean, the Republican Party and all of us want transparency. There's a reason we had Doge. We want to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, and the American people should be skeptical about how their money is being spent. So on this process, it was run by career procurement officials. My office of Public Affairs, was the program office, and DHS selected Safe America, which there's been a lot of scrutiny about because Democrats have said that this was a company that was started 11 days before. But the reality, it was actually run by Patrick McCarthy and Mike McElwain, who are storied, prolific ad creators and ad buyers, and they've had a lot of success in this industry. They did the domestic portion of this, and then the international piece was done by people who think Jay Cottenton, also real professional in this space. They were vetted by career officials and selected. And then there is this piece, of course, that we've seen a lot of internet buzz and some on the left about my husband's involvement. My husband never had a DHS contract. He was actually Safe America. They contacted the strategy group and wanted them to do limited ad production. And as soon as I found that out, I immediately firewalled. And it is not legal, Sean, for DHS to have any control or decision making in the subcontractor process. But I knew this is my fiance's company. I don't want those optics. Immediately recuse myself, not involved. So I think the American people should know that, because there's a lot of headlines out there and confusion, and we need to give people the truth and the facts.
So just so I get this straight, you guys have this process. A company is formed. And again, I get it. Just so people get this, like if you're doing business at a different scale, you have a company and you say, okay, we should set up a separate company just to work on this contract or this account or whatever. So this company, these ad makers set up a company specifically to bid to maybe DHS and some other, I don't know, but they set up the Safe America, right? And then that company gets awarded the contract. You have nothing to do with that, right?
No, I was part of the conversations with Safe America and with people who think, I was the head of the program office, right? So we were just the vehicle, but procurement actually ran the process. But I did get to see, some of the presentations for these different entities.
Okay, so Safe America gets chosen, and then they go out and subcontract, and one of the subcontracted companies is your husband's.
Yeah, well, it was my fiance at the time, and I'm getting wind of this, and I'm like, firewall, recusal. But keep in mind, Sean, this is in the backdrop of my fiance at the time, that firm who had done ads for Secretary Noem for, I think, almost a decade. So there was familiarity there, and I think Patrick McCarthy and Mike McElwain, well, I haven't had that conversation with them why they were chosen. Again, as by law, DHS cannot get involved in the subcontracting, dictating, or controlling, but that is some of the context that I think is important for people as well.
Okay, so this whole thing happens, and just to be clear, when we talk about an ad buy, $200 million, it's not like they're getting $200 million or whatever, right? They're getting that money and then going out and buying ads.
That's correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So the Daily Wire reported this way. McLaughlin, that's you, acknowledged to the Daily Wire that she was part of a group of officials that heard the presentation from each company that was considered to do the work. One of the successful firms later subcontracted to your husband's company, though they didn't marry until August. So nothing objectionable to that.
No, but the framing here is incredibly important. Like I said, recused myself, firewall, was in no way involved in that subcontracting work.
But I just want people to understand, as far as I know, and again, I want you to explain this, the work that your husband's firm would have done is ad creation, correct? I mean, or maybe
limited production.
Okay, so that's what I think when people hear a price tag, $200 million, it's not like they're getting that money. They might be they're designing something and then using that money to go buy the ads that are produced.
Exactly. And that's very important here, Sean. I have to reiterate, DHS did not hire my fiance's company. Safe America did as a subcontractor, and actually Ben, my now husband, his firm put out a statement saying they made they at cost the ads, and they made $220,000, nowhere near $200 million.
Lululemon knows the 2 times you'll love your everyday pants the most are when they're brand new and when they're broken in. Lululemon's new Easy 5 pants are designed to let you enjoy both feelings at the very same time. Because Easy 5 is the brand new pant that delivers a broken-in feel from day one. Engineered with the structure you want and the touch of stretch you need. Easy 5 casually outperforms denim. Shop now, in-store or online. Athletic innovation for everyday life. Lululemon.
When you want your spring break to feel like... and your kids' pool day to feel like... and your hotel bed to feel like... ooh, and room service to feel like... because at Hilton, hospitality feels like...
Your cabana's ready. Would you like fresh towels?
It matters where you stay. Book now at Hilton.com. Hilton, for the stay.
So, and that's, I think, again, to your point about the context. So at the end of the day, they do all this work and they did the thing at cost, and then they make $200,000 from what, buying, or what is it that they profited from?
No, just pure production of that ad. And candidly, Sean, I'm not super steeped in what ad production even looks like, again, because I wouldn't involve myself in this, and there was a firewall. Okay.
So outside of that, like what, so you're from the media framing piece of this, one, how the process works, maybe two, the profiting, what else is not being portrayed fairly about you and the process?
Yeah, I think that they have this fantasy of corruption where there was none. Our general counsel, he put out a statement recently talking about how this was all done by the book, and that there's a lot of guardrails surrounding the procurement process, and those were followed by the T. I think that is something that's sorely being missed. I think there's a lot of kind of lies out there that I had left the Department of Homeland Security because of these contracts, and no way is that true, Sean. You know, from these kind of jobs, they can take a real it's a real sacrifice, and it's a real honor as well. But I had served Homeland Security for a year, and then was planning to leave, but left in the wake, wanted to stay on in the wake of Minneapolis and what happened in Minnesota, and really serve the country, through it all.
Okay. I want to move on. I do want to get to Minneapolis in a second. The other big thing, unless your husband owns an airplane company, I want to ask you, in retrospect, obviously, I don't think the public affairs had anything to do with the procurement of an airplane, but obviously, I will say, what are we missing, if anything, about the procurement of the plane that's getting a lot of attention as well, if anything?
Yeah, I wasn't particularly steeped beyond in the, anything contrasting with those airplanes. I wasn't really aware until the press inquiries started to come in. But I know, we do spend a lot of money on these military aircraft, especially for high target individuals or high profile deportations. And so I know that this plane was put in the budget to be dual use. And I know that, there's a lot of conversation, the fact that there are bedrooms in that plane. And my understanding, based on people who are experts on this and were involved in this contract, is that those bedrooms are actually being retrofitted. So they're not bedrooms, and they actually have more seating for more deportation.
Well, I mean, I do think it was very kind of you guys. If you're deporting somebody, they might want a nap on the way back. I mean, I'm just saying it was very thoughtful for all of the backlash that got taken about the treatment of detainees and deportees. I would say it was just very thoughtful to be like, would you like to take a nap on your way back to your country of origin? So I mean, look, maybe that was just a very kind gesture on our behalf as a country. You mentioned Minneapolis. The thing that I find fascinating about Minneapolis is this. The president has gone in all of these blue cities, DC, Memphis, New Orleans. And for some reason, the only one that stands out is Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. And the media fixates on all of this. But tell me if I'm wrong. There was a reason that Minneapolis was different than all of the others.
Yeah, I think Minneapolis was different than a lot of the others as well. And I mean, I think part of that is the leadership in Minneapolis, their refusal to give our law enforcement any backup when it came to the fact that they were being assaulted, that vehicles were being rammed against them. I mean, these are tactics we saw out of Chicago. These are tactics we saw out of Los Angeles. But the least amount of cooperation our law enforcement saw was in Minneapolis itself. I think that, the leadership there, Walls, Fry, they turned up the temperature quite a bit. And you also have to keep in mind, Sean, this is all in the backdrop of massive amount of fraud that was going on. So Walls, right, of course, he said he wasn't going to seek re-election after this. The political tensions were already high there. But I also think that the agitators on the ground in Minneapolis had learned from the lessons of Chicago and from Los Angeles and these other at-large operations, and they kind of learned how to provoke law enforcement, take a video, clip it, and make it go viral. And then we were really chasing the news cycle at that point, and we were starting to lose that public relations battle.
So that kind of goes into your wheelhouse right now, because I agree with you. I mean, the funny part is you guys, and this is the sort of the shame of where Kristi Noem is right now, is that while she's dealing with a lot of the ad campaign and the airplane and things like that, you guys were highly successful in this first year of going after President Trump's signature issue and keeping this country safer, making sure that people who were not supposed to be here were out. And I feel like Minneapolis, and this is the left, they knew what they were doing. I mean, you alluded to this, but they really did know what they were doing. And I feel until we get to the bottom of this, understanding who's paying for this and the agitation, they recognize this, Trisha. And here's my supposition on this. Biden let millions, and by a conservative count, we can probably say about 15 million people into this country. And then the Democrats said, but now we want to protect them from being sent out. And we give them driver's licenses. And now, by the way, DHS is shut down. I believe that right now, this is as cynical as this sounds, Trisha McLaughlin, this is what I do think this is their plan. Let them in, fight to keep them, give them a driver's license, and make sure it's hard. And then we help assimilate them and talk about them as if they have rights.
Oh, well, you're completely right. And Sean, to that point and to the broader point, I think what I saw at Homeland Security was that our legal immigration system is so much worse off, so corroded, so corrupted, and especially in the last 4 years. I mean, you look at programs like temporary protected status, which were supposed to be meant for, extraordinary temporary circumstances. You have people who have been there for 25 years on that. Millions of people. You have CHNV, which is Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela. It's a parole program. There are millions of people who are unvetted, led into this country, and I think we are seeing the ramifications of that in a lot of these, people who hate America. We've seen some of these terrorist attacks in the last few days. So a lot of these are naturalized citizens who hate the U.S., who clearly were not thoroughly vetted.
All right. The last thing I want to talk to you about, I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. The SAVE Act, the Senate is seeming to acquiesce at least on getting a vote. What to people out there who how important is the SAVE Act, not just to voting, but to our homeland security?
It is essential. This will have generational consequences. And if we can't get this through, when we still have a Republican Senate, we still have a Republican House, and we have a Republican president, when are we going to be able to do this? This will have generational consequences for elections to come. I think that this is a matter of preserving our national security and our republic itself.
So what for the members out there, I read it at the beginning. I mean, we have 3 Republican members, Murkowski from Alaska, John Curtis from Utah, and Mitch McConnell. And I think we don't know where Cassidy is on this. What's the message to them?
I think this is a legacy issue. I think that the American people, left and right, eventually left, this is really an 80-20 issue, will remember that you decided that your politics your potential to win an election was more important than preserving our elections and preserving our homeland.
And lastly, just real quick, I mentioned this on my show, The Huddle. I do it every morning on my YouTube channel. Like, the TSA agents are working every single day right now. The average TSA agent is making 30, or the starting one is making 38 grand, 30, something like that. And then the average one is at 45. What do you want us to know about these people that aren't getting paid right now, whether it's TSA, Coast Guard, Secret Service? Like, what is the message to Democrats that are not letting Republicans reopen the government?
I mean, TSA in itself, we've just had 300 TSA agents quit because they're not getting paid. 4 times now, we've had Democrats vote against paying our TSA agents, paying our FEMA workers, paying the U.S. Coast Guard. They claim that this is about ICE. This has nothing to do with ICE. ICE is getting paid until the end of President Trump's term. They're continuing to put politics out of public safety. I mean, you have Alyssa Slotkin, who finally, as soon as she has a terrorist attack in her backyard, she's finally saying, yes, we need to fund Homeland Security. It shouldn't take an act of terrorism. It shouldn't take an act of violence to get Democrats to do the right thing, to fund Homeland Security and stop putting our national security at risk.
Perfect. Trisha McGlaughlin, thanks for your service. I really appreciate you being here and breaking this all down for us.
Hey, Sean, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate you and all you do.
You bet. We'll be right back. This is Full Court Press with Sean Spicer.